welcome to Matt's Metal Show. Today we're going to be talking about Ronnie James Dio, and I decided instead of like rating the Dio albums, rating the Sabbath albums, rating the Rainbow and all that other stuff, I'm just going to rate all of Ronnie's studio albums. Yeah! Oh yeah! Let's get to it. There's 20 albums. I'm not going to count all the weird stuff, you know, like the Roger Glover album, because, you know, he just sang parts of it, Kerry Livgren album, that kind of thing. I'm just going to go straight, 4 bands that Dio was really in, which was Elf, Rainbow, Sabbath, and Dio. So we're just going to cover those. There's 20 albums, like I said. My voice is fucked up today. Gotta stop smoking crack. Just kidding. Anyways, let's get to it. Number 20. I'm going to go with Elf, 1972. The thing about Elf is those albums were produced. Well, the first album was produced by Ian Pace and Roger Glover, and then I think the second 2 albums were just produced by Roger Glover from Deep Purple. That's where you get that whole Deep Purple, Ronnie James Dio thing, Richie Blackmore. What? So, I don't know what to really say about the Elf albums. They're not exciting. 1972, you got Hoochie Coochie Lady. The thing with Elf is they were really like southern rock, country rock, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know, a lot of jangly ragtime saloon keyboards and just bizarre, not bizarre, but just kind of like really tame. Really not something that I get into. I have all the albums. I'm just not like going, oh fuck, I gotta throw on Elf today with that creepy little guy who's his little ears and shit. So like the bottom of my list is all the Elf albums. Sorry. They served a purpose, which was to get Ronnie into Rainbow. But there's not anything on there that I'm like, I go back to. I really don't find myself going, oh shit, let me throw on Elf today. You know, like today, I listened to some of them. I will tell you though, on the first Elf album, there's the very last song on there is called Gambler, Gambler. And it has some pretty cool stuff on it. The production on this cost like $6. So it's really, you know, but there's some interesting stuff. Not like trying to detract anybody from going out and listening to that stuff. I know as a kid, when I was hugely into Dio, like when I was a teenager, you know, I went down and to Tower Records and bought all the Elf albums out of the like cheap bin, you know, for like $3. The first one I bought was number 19 on my list, which is Carolina County Ball from 1974. Same thing as the first one, really jangly, lots of yeah, not really into that. The title track's cool. There's a couple of cool songs. There's a song called Rainbow on there. It's kind of boring. It's just wow. Which takes me to number 18, right? 18 is Trying to Burn the Sun from 1975. Now, there's nothing on there that I can just go, oh yeah. I mean, it opens with Black Swampy Water. Do I need to say anything else? The last track on there is a song called Streetwalker, and you would think like, oh cool, Streetwalker, you know. It's not exciting. Wonder World, Shotgun Boogie. Shotgun Boogie! no, it's nothing even like that. It's just yikes. So that's the bottom of the barrel for me for Dio albums is the Elf albums. I'm sorry. Like I said, you know, they served a purpose. They got him in front of Richie Blackmore. Roger Glover was producing the albums. So all of a sudden, you know, those, I mean, they were a stepping stone, and that's the way, you know, some of those things turn out to be. Number 17, I'm going to piss a bunch of people off. Number 17, Strange Highways from 1993. I know there's a bunch of people out there. I mean, maybe not a bunch of people because it's not like this album did anything at all. But I keep reading all these like, oh, dude, I love Strange Highways. It's one of my favorite Dio albums. Cool. Cool. Like I said, and like I'll always say, dude, everybody gets into music at a certain point in their life. And if you were a teenager when in 93 when this came out, I could totally understand how you would be like, this is my favorite Dio album of all time. I get it. It's based on kind of like on where you are at the time and where you are in your life. Like for me, I was a young kid, so I love like the 83 stuff because that's when I really started getting into music when I was like 13. So, but Strange Highways, I like the song. The title track's cool. It sounds kind of formulaic. You know, Ronnie did that a lot where he does the little mellow part and then it goes into the hammering. The problem is I hate Tracy G's sound. It's so, it's just so heavy and it's terrible. I guess some people would like go, oh, that Tracy G's amazing. Dude, I find everything that Tracy G did on those albums just, it's like getting my teeth drilled. I don't know why. I don't dislike the guy personally or anything like that, but every time I listen to the two albums that he did with Dio, I just don't get it, dude. It's just like he's trying to be obnoxious, you know? I love Jesus, Mary, and the Holy Ghost. That's a great song, the opening track. Like I said, I like the title song, and I could probably get behind like Hollywood Black. Firehead's kind of dumb, but it's cool. Give Her the Gun is a decent song, but overall, man, this album is sludgy, man. And that's the thing is like, I don't know if there's that group of Dio fans that grew up like in the 90s that are like, oh my God, dude, I cannot get into this album. I can't. I'm sorry. I listened to it and I'm just like, God, Tracy G's, like, just the sound of his guitar just makes me want to, you know, blow my brains out. Ugh. Ugh. Which leads me to number 16, the other Tracy G album, which I could stomach a little bit more, Angry Machines from 1996. I could stomach that album just a little bit more. My favorite track was actually a bonus track from Japan called God Hates Heavy Metal. That's a cool song. The problem with these two albums is this is when Dio kind of fell out of favor, you know, with the masses. He wasn't like exactly blowing down doors and selling out arenas anymore. I think on the Strange Highways tour, he played like Brick by Brick down here in San Diego, which is this tiny little club, you know. It's like 100 people fit in there. 100 people would fit uncomfortably in there, so you can, you know. And this is kind of when he shifted from the whole mystical, rainbow in the dark kind of stuff to like reality, you know. So a lot of the songs on Strange Highways and on Angry Machines, they're like, they deal with real shit. And a lot of people didn't like that because that's not what they wanted to listen to Dio for. They wanted to hear like Dio singing about rainbows and magic and shit like that. And he didn't want to do that. First of all, he was a little angry at this time. Angry Machines. I mean, if you listen to these two albums together, you're just like, whoa, this is a dark place. Jeff Pilson on bass. I think Vinny Appice's still in the band, not sure. The weird thing is both of these albums were right after that aborted Black Sabbath reunion in '92. So, yeah, there's a lot of anger on these albums. There's a lot of songs that are just like Institutional Man, Double Monday, Dying in America. They're cool songs, Hunter of the Heart. But they're just like, they're a bummer. Like, these albums are a bummer. And then Tracy G's sloppy, super fucking shrill, bendy. Ugh. I'm sorry. It's, like I said, it's personal. You could love these fucking albums. You could, like, tattoo the cover of Angry Machines on your chest and run around. Fight the power, dude. That's cool. Like, if you got into these albums, by all means. I did not. I just... Ugh. I don't know. Let's go to number 15. Master of the Moon. Master of the Moon came out, what, 04? It was the last Dio album with Craig Goldie. Him and Craig wrote all the music. And I like Master of the Moon. I love Craig's playing. Craig's such a Richie Blackmore freak that everything that he does kind of has that Richie Blackmore tinge, which you could kind of never go wrong with that. One for the Road is killer. I love the title track. Shivers is kind of stupid, but it's fun. But The Man Who Would Be King. There's some great songs on here. It has that cover with the demon holding the crystal ball. I can remember seeing this in 04 when it came out, and I was like, finally, a Dio album with a fucking big old demon on it holding a crystal ball. I'm getting it. And then I looked and I saw Craig was on there, and I was like, oh, cool. Craig's in the band again, so that's awesome. I dig that album. There's some cool songs. It's kind of sludgy, and you know, like older Dio, like later Dio, is kind of sludgy. It is. It's like Ronnie just shifted into this heavy, doomy sound. And some of it's cool, and some of it I just can't stomach, like the Tracy G shit. I can't handle it. But and I've given it a shot. You know, this album I actually bought it. I remember I listened to it, and then I kind of like lost it. It went somewhere, and then years later. I found it again, and I went back in and I kind of rediscovered it, and I was like, oh shit, you know, because I never really gave that album like the total due that it needed, because like I said, it's the last Dio album, not the last album Ronnie would do, but the last Dio album. So, Lock Up the Wolves is number 14 from 1990. The problem with Lock Up the Wolves is like, okay, first of all, you got Rowan Robertson in the band. He's like 12. And you look at the pictures, and like him and the bass player, Teddy, whatever the fuck his name was, they literally look like they're fucking children dressed up like. Remember that old Stevie Vai video where they had that little kid and it was like dressed like Stevie Vai? That's what they look like. It had Jens Johansson from Yngwie in the band. It was like, what is going on now? I remember when this came out, I bought it. I didn't like the cover. I know some people are like, oh my god, that cover looks like shit. It does. It's like mutated wolves with the Horn King from fucking, Disney's Black Cauldron on the cover. I don't know. And I remember popping that album on, and I was not happy with it. I wasn't. I remember, with all the other Dio stuff when I was a kid, dude, you would just put it on and you'd be like, holy fucking shit. With that album, that was probably the first Dio album that I was like, ugh. And it took a while. It took me a while to like just kind of go through that and listen to it and then just kind of pick out what I liked and what I didn't like. And it seemed to me like he just hired some guns, you know, to like be on his album. I think like even Vinny was out of the band, right? So it was like Simon Wright was in the drummer. It just seemed weird because it was like you go from the last album, which was like Dream Evil with Craig and Jimmy and you know Vinny, the core members of the band, and then all of a sudden you got this album like 3 years later, and you're like, no one's left but Ronnie, and you got to go. Alarm bells are ringing. Starting to feel a little Richie Blackmore here, aren't we? And that sucks because there is some really good songs on here. I love fucking Between Two Hearts is a fucking great song. Evil on Queen Street, I fucking love that song. And I even like the title track, Lock Up the Wolves. Wild One's okay. Born on the Sun, Walk on Water. I mean, there's some cool songs on here, but the problem is like, they weren't really memorable. They were kind of like, just like those three core songs, Evil on Queen Street, Lock Up the Wolves, and Between Two Hearts. Those are the ones that like stood out to me. But I remember it took me a long time to like digest this album, and it was kind of long because, you know, CD age. So what is there, like 11 songs on here, which is a lot for a Dio album. You know, Dio usually did about 8 songs. But like everybody else should have stuck to that, and I'll reiterate that a million times because I was around when CD first came out, and a lot of bands had to fill up all the space. Let's fill it all up. It left you a lot of filler and a lot of like songs that should never have happened. So, all right, that's number 14. Number 13. I know, like once again, and I'm wearing the shirt, Heaven and Hell, because I got to see Ronnie on his last tour before he passed away. So, and that was amazing. But I want to say, whoa, The Devil You Know from 2009. The thing about there's the original 2 Sabbath albums that Ronnie did, and there's the other 2 Sabbath albums. This one was called Heaven and Hell because Sharon Osbourne is a psychopath, and she bought the name Black Sabbath. That could only be used if Ozzy was in the band, so they changed the name of the band to Heaven and Hell. Okay, it's still Black Sabbath with Dio, so whatever. Change the name. Anyways, The Devil You Know. I remember when this came out, and I remember like trying to love it, and I don't love it. I'm sorry. People go, oh my god, it's such a heavy, killer album. It's so heavy. Fuck yeah, it's heavy. I mean, it's like super heavy, to the point where I'm like, it's too heavy for me. And you know, the thing with Sabbath is you had the first 2 albums, which were fucking brilliant, and then you had Dehumanizer, which was kind of a one-off, and that was fucking heavy. And then you got this album, and it's like, fuck, dude. You listen to Adam and Evil. It opens up with it. It's a good song. I love Bible Black. Double the Pain. Eating the Cannibals. Like, dude, Turn of the Screw. Jesus Christ. Some of these songs, like, you just put them on, and your, like, teeth are fucking melting in your fucking mouth. And I don't mind that. I mean, obviously, I listen to metal, so I'm like, I don't mind that. But it's so dirgy and fucking, like, just... You know, it's fucking, I don't know. I find it depressing, really, I do. So, but it's still a good album. Dio's last album he'd ever make. It's just not one of my favorites. It's not one of those albums that, like, even with 13, the last one they did with Ozzy, like, dude, I never reach for that. Because it's just so fucking dirgy and fucking just wall of sound, fucking just fucking sludge doom fucking metal. I just don't. There's no fucking melody there, for Christ's sakes, and it's just not very memorable. Except for, you know, there's a couple of songs on there that I totally appreciate, and then, you know, I mean, it's ranked pretty high because it's fucking guys from Sabbath, but at the same time, I don't really pick it up that often. Number 12, Magicka. Now, Magicka is a funny album because it's a concept album that came out in 2000. Craig Goldie got back with Ronnie, and they wrote this mystical, magical concept album called Magicka, where you're supposed to follow the storyline and everything. I remember when this first came out, I didn't even know about it, not till years later. Because at the time, Ronnie and they were kind of quiet. Like they kind of fell off my radar for a lot of years. Going back, like when I actually on the next album, because I actually saw them, I kind of went back and found the Tracy G shit that I had missed, and I should have missed it. Bummer. And then I found Magicka. My version has the Magicka story on it. It's like 18 minutes long, and I never listened to that because it's just like weird. But the rest of the album is pretty fucking solid all the way through. I fucking dig. Like, fucking Fever Dreams is good. I'm pulling this out of my ass because, well, I can look it up. What my favorite song on there is Chalice, and I fucking love that song. It's so good. Such a good fucking song. What else is on there? I was just listening to it like before I came on. Now my mind's a blank. Bow, 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 bow. Once again, Craig Goldie finds he channels his inner Richie Blackmore on here. Lord of the Last Day. I was just listening to that. Fever Dreams is fucking awesome. Turn to Stone's good. Feed My Head. Chalice, though. Chalice is my favorite song on this album. This is a kind of a sludgy album, just like all the other ones that are out around past like 90. I think Log of the Wolves was the last straight rock and roll Dio album, and then after that it was like, whoa, you could hear the fucking change in sound. And it stayed forever, even with the Sabbath stuff. It was like fucking heavy as fuck. But this is a good album. It was one of those albums that I was kind of pleasantly surprised. At first, because, I heard that Tracy G shit, I was like, God. And I put on the Magicka and I just kind of braced for impact. But then I was like, oh, there's actually songs I remember on this. So that's cool. And of course, Craig, he's a fucking phenomenal player. He gets no fucking credit whatsoever. He's such a great fucking player. Yeah, so Magicka is number 12. Number 11 is Killing the Dragon. And it had Doug Aldrich on it. And I believe that Craig was supposed to be on it. And I think he wrote a bunch of the songs on it. Killing the Dragon came out in 2002. I saw Dio open on this tour. He opened for the Scorpions and Deep Purple. And I remember we were right in the front, like nobody was there, and he was like super pissed off. But I remember getting this album, and it's got a dragon on the cover, and you were just like, what is this, And a lot of people pissed and shit on this album. But it's really good. The title track's good. Along Comes a Spider, Scream, Rock and Roll, Push. I love Push. That's the song that had like the video had like Tenacious D in it, right? Throwaway Children's fucking great. Before the Fall is great. This is a fucking really solid album, and Doug Aldrich plays on it. And we all know Doug Aldrich from Whitesnake. He's been in Whitesnake for about 800 fucking years now. Even though people are going, oh, he's not an original member. Nobody's original member in fucking Whitesnake except for fucking David Coverdale. What the fuck? But yeah, Doug Aldrich, and I remember going to see them, and they put on a great show. I remember, like I said, though, that Ronnie was a little pissed off that he was opening for fucking Scorpions and fucking Deep Purple, but, that was the sign of the times. At least he wasn't opening for Puppet Show. Right? So, Line Up the Wolves, number 11. Number 10, Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart. I saw the Sacred Heart tour 2 times in 85. Once early in the year and once later in the year, right? One was with Mr. Vivian Campbell, where he just stood there on stage and acted like he was in a coma, and he had his hair like cut behind his ears. He had like a kind of a mullet, and he just was totally disinterested. And then the second tour that I saw him with was with Craig Goldie, because Vivian got, I'm not sure if he got booted or he quit. One of the two. Who fucking knows? But that was Craig's first stint. They came out with a little EP called Intermission, which had some live stuff, and then had a song called Time to Burn, which was Craig's first intro into Dio. Talked to Craig. You know, Craig would tell me, you know, he was supposed to be in Dio anyways. You know, Ronnie would like keep him around and say, hey, you know, Vivian doesn't work out. You're in the fucking band. So that shit was coming for a long time. I had a lot of love for this album. A lot of love. You know, I was a kid, so 85 when this came out, I was fucking like eating Dio up left, you know, like, oh, fuck, the new Dio album. Over the years, it's probably waned a little bit. I mean, it's what, number 10? So it's probably waned a little bit in its popularity with me. It's still a solid album. I think what kind of detracts me from this album is it's got Hungry for Heaven on it, which I fucking can't stand. But it has King of Rock and Roll. It has Sacred Heart. It has Rock and Roll Children on it. It has Like the Beat of a Heart. Like a beat of a heart! Go beat your heart! Oh, no. Yeah. But it had Hungry for Heaven, which was like on the Vision Quest soundtrack, and it was lame. I hated it when Ronnie did those little kind of keyboard-driven, you know, like Mystery. Mystery was kind of like a ripoff of freaking, you know, Rainbow in the Dark. You know, I thought that was the weakest song on that album. But anyways, and there's some, you know, Just Another Day, Fallen Angels, Shoot Shoot, you know, Another Lie. But I could still put that album on to this day and listen to the whole fucking thing, and I fucking love it. It's number 10, but it used to be probably number 4, you know. But I think, like I said, I think the thing, I remember watching, I remember looking at my buddy, you know, we were close. We always had great seats because we knew a scalper. I just remember looking over my buddy George and was like, dude, like, what's up with Vivian? Is he alive? Is he like, he seriously just looked like he did not fucking give a shit. And we all know after that, he was like out and fucking hates Ronnie James Dio and fucking all this shit. So, but yeah, that's Sacred Heart, number 10. Number 9 is Dehumanizer from Black Sabbath. Right? From Black Sabbath. The thing with Dehumanizer was, once again, it was in that odd period in the 90s. So it was 92. I remember when it came out. And I remember, like, I bought it, and I did not like the album cover because it looks shitty. Like somebody spent $8 on that album cover. And then I remember, like, putting it on, and it is friggin' doom. That album is doomy, and for a lot of years, I didn't like that album. I would put it on, and I would just be like it just like hurt the fillings in your teeth. You know, it was just so heavy. But I remember I dug that song TV Crimes. And a lot of people hate that song, but I fucking loved it because it was catchy, you know, and he's like, gotta buy him a plastic Jesus, you know. Gotta buy him a limousine. Someplace, yeah, it was fucking great. I love that song. It's a fucking catchy song. After years and years of like trying to digest that album, and then actually seeing them live, and then they did some of those songs live. There's some great songs on there. They're very doomy, very doomy. After All the Dead, TV Crimes, you know, it had the kind of poppy kind of Time Machine from Wayne's World. It's a good album. Nice, solid album. unfortunately, things with Sabbath would not pan out, and the Sabbath douches, Geezer and Tony, they were trying to woo fucking Ozzy back into a fucking Black Sabbath reunion, and Ronnie was like, what the fuck? Whatever, So he ended up bailing out, and then he went and hired Tracy G, and they came out with fucking Strange Highways. But anyways, Dehumanizer, I fucking dig it. It's fucking heavy. It's heavy, but there's some fucking cool songs on there. I don't reach for it a lot. I really don't, man. I don't go, oh, fuck, I want to listen to Dehumanizer. But at the same time, when I do, run across, there's at least 4 songs on there that I go, oh, I got to listen to those real quick. Number 8. Long Live Rock and Roll from 1978. Rainbow's Long Live Rock and Roll. The thing about Rainbow, I love fucking Rainbow with Ronnie. I fucking like Rainbow mostly. Not hugely into Jolyn Turner, but he had some fucking great songs on there. Long Live Rock and Roll had Cozy Powell, Bob Daisley, Tony Carey, Richie Blackmore, and Ronnie James Dio. I mean, the album itself, it's stellar. It is. It's got Long Live Rock and Roll. It's got Lady of the Lake, LA Connection, Gates of Babylon. I mean, that's side 1, for Christ's sakes. Then it has Kill the King. It has The Shed, Subtle, which is one of my favorite friggin' songs from Rainbow ever. I mean, it's freaking vicious. I'm like a freight train, feeling no pain. Yeah. Most people, they have no fucking idea what that song even is. They really don't. And that sucks because really, if you love Ronnie and stuff, make sure you go back and listen to. Dude, I have the stuff that he did from the 50s. Ronnie and the Redcaps and shit like that, where he's singing Love Potion number 9, which is awesome. Go back and look. The Rainbow stuff, if you haven't discovered the Rainbow stuff, dude, you're missing out, because Gates of Babylon, Jesus Christ, that's one of those songs where, Yngwie covered it, because, fucking Richie Blackmore's God. Even though Yngwie will sit there and tell you, he hates Richie Blackmore, you're like, you're such a fucking liar, dude. I probably, I'm going to rank it number 8. The only reason why is because the Martin Birch production on it, and I wish they would, remaster and do deluxe editions of all these things, but Blackmore's a dick, and Ronnie's dead, so, who knows? Maybe someday. And the production is just not awesome. When you listen to Kill the King, Kill the King's a great song, but it sounds like it was recorded underground. I've listened to that album a million times. Sensitive to Light, how often do I want to hear? And Rainbow Eyes. Rainbow Eyes is 8 minutes long? Jesus Christ. She's got rainbow eyes. Yeah. So, it's a stellar album. It's a fucking iconic album, but at the same time, I gotta rate it where I rate it, because to me, I listened to the first side of it, and then I'm like, oh, well, I gotta listen to The Shed, Subtle, and then after that, I'm like, hey, I'm out. Number 7, Dream Evil. I remember seeing these guys on tour, and we were all excited because Craig's, he's a San Diego boy, and I'm from San Diego, so. It was just like when Jakey Lee was in Aussie. It was exciting to have our local guys in fucking big bands, And so we had seen Craig play, the second half of the Sacred Heart tour. And then, now he's actually got an album out with Ronnie. And I ate this album up, man. In 1987, I was in high school. It's a solid album. And, for a while there, I kind of let it, kind of go to the wayside. And then, a couple years ago, they came out with a Decade of Dio, 1983 to 1993, and they remastered like his first, 6 albums. I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 albums. They added on Strange Highways, but they did do Dream Evil, and dude, I started listening again, and fucking Craig's playing on there so fucking good. He's way Richie Blackmore in places, but dude, Night People's great, Dream Evil, Sunset Superman. I don't know why, but I love that fucking song. Sunset Superman, anywhere you can, all the fools sailed away. Oh, Naked in the Rain is good. Overlove, Faces in the Window, When a Woman Cries. I could have done without I Could Have Been a Dreamer. That sounded like that throwaway song that Ronnie would always do, kind of like Hungry for Heaven, where you're just like, yikes, just toss it out. But Dream Evil. Dream Evil's number 7 over fucking Rainbow? Even Craig will see this freak the fuck out. What? But yeah, it's true. It's true. That's how I ranked it. So, number 6, we're going to go Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. I can remember when I bought this album, it was in the fucking cheap bin, because it came out like 1975. I was like 5 years old when this album came out. So I can remember, like I said, I think in '84 when I saw Dio, we had front row at the San Diego Sports Arena, like Dawkins Open. It was on the Last in Line tour, and I remember like after that show, I remember Ronnie came, slapped my hand. There was fucking fire, and it was melting us, and it was such a great show. And I remember like I went out and I already had the Sabbath stuff, but then I went beyond because we were young kids when all these fucking albums came out. I was 8 when fucking Long Live Rock and Roll came out. 8-year-olds typically don't cruise down to Sears, which was Record Central at the time, and pick up the new Richie Blackmore album. We just didn't do that. So for me, a lot of times it was like at that moment, and then we had to look back. And so I remember I got the Elf stuff, but I got the Rainbow stuff, and it was all cheap as shit on vinyl, because it was like old. And I remember getting this album, and I listened to the fuck out of this album. I still listen to the fuck out of this album. This is a great album. It has Man on the Silver Mountain. It has Self-Portrait, which is fucking awesome. I love that song. Black Sheep of the Family, Catch the Rainbow, Snake Charmer, Temple of the King. Probably the one detraction, I don't know why, but on every Dio album, man, one song that just, it was like, you don't like rock and roll, well, it's too late now. It was like, that was pretty much, this was basically Elf with Richie Blackmore. They kicked the fucking guitar player out. What was his name? Like Davey Feinstein or something? I can't even remember. But they kicked the guitar player out, and this is basically Richie Blackmore's Rainbow came out in '75, at the same year that Trying to Burn the Sun came out. So, and this is basically Elf with Richie Blackmore, and they called it Rainbow. They called it Richie Blackmore's Rainbow because Richie's got to have his fucking name on it. But 16th Century Greensleeves and Still I'm Sad. This album is fucking flawless with the exception of if you don't like rock and roll. And even that, it's not awful. I can listen to it. But like I remember listening to this album and it was one of those albums that you were like, God damn, this has been out. I probably bought it in like 84. So it'd been out for like 9 years, but I was fucking like 14 years old. So like, I can remember buying this. And I ate this album up, and I was so... It was great to find one of those old albums, and you're like, oh my God, this is so fucking good. And it was. It was fucking great, man. Still love that album. Number 7, right? Nope, number 6. Number 5 is Rainbow Rising, which came out in '76, the next following year. And that's when Richie kicked all those Elf guys to the fucking curb. You got Jimmy Bain, you got Cozy Powell, you got Tony Carey, him and Ronnie Dio, and they came out with the Rising album. It's that album, the iconic album with that iconic album cover. And it's fucking flawless except for Do You Close Your Eyes? Once again. It's like they had to have that one fucking song to just fuck stuff up. It did. That album is fucking flawless. And then you're right in the middle of, like, which, it's hilarious. Wedged in between Starstruck and Stargazer, you have Do You Close Your Eyes? Which is one of them jangly fucking, yeah. Terror Woman, Run with the Devil, Starstruck, Stargazer, A Light in the Black. Now, the funny thing is if you watch this interview, there's an interview with Ronnie where he was sitting on a tour bus drinking beer, and it's called like the Brutally Honest Ronnie Dio interview. It's really fun to watch because he's like, I think it's right around like Strange Highways or, yeah, it's probably around Strange Highways. It's somewhere in that middle of the road when he wasn't as popular as he wanted to be. And he was kind of pissed off about it. He fucking hated it. He was talking shit about this album. Now, dude, everybody knows this album is fucking classic. And it's one of the probably highest regarded Rainbow albums of all time. It really is, because it's fucking amazing. But, like, I remember he hated Cozy Powell because he was sitting there doing, let's do a fucking drum solo. Which is funny because Ryan was talking shit about Stargazer, saying I was like a fucking, a fucking drum solo with fucking Richie Blackmore just showing off forever. And it's like, well, that's odd because it's one of your favorite songs. Like, you still did parts of it live in concert for a lot of years. So you gotta wonder, like, what frame of mind Ronnie was in when he was fucking doing that interview. It was pretty funny, though. But, especially when people fucking regard that album as just, like, the shit. The absolute shit. And then, like, here's Ronnie's like, oh. Like he said, he loved making the first album, and then the second album was, like, just them just trying to show off. And then he loathed the third album because the band was in, like, complete disarray by that point. So it was like, oh, whatever. We still love the albums. I mean, we weren't on the personal side of it, so I guess we have a different point of view. But that was one of the fucking greatest albums ever, fucking, for me at least. Number four, I'm going to go Last in Line from 1984. First time I really saw Dio live, front row, San Diego Sports Arena. It was in, like, December, I want to say. I still have the tour program. I still have Jimmy Bain's pick somewhere around here. I threw it at me. Wow. We Rock. The Last in Line. Breathless. Ice Feet at Night. One Night in the City. Eat Your Heart Out. Egypt, the Chains Rung. Those are all the songs that I, like, fucking love. Evil Eyes is cool. I don't know. There's something about Evil Eyes that just doesn't do it for me. And then Mystery, like I said, Mystery, it's a cool song, but to me, it was like Dio Light. It was like, I don't know. It was like it was one of the singles. So it was like, it seemed to me like it was done to be a single, and sometimes they did that, or they were like, let's put on a little less aggressive song and put it out to the little kiddies. He had the video with just him where he was walking through with the sword and shit. And you're just like, alrighty, the top three. Oh my God, top three. Number three, and this was a tough one. I actually, at the last moment, I flipped number three and number two. Because I thought about it for a second, and I'm like, I actually like more songs from the new number two, than I do from the number three, which was originally the number two. So, it's going to be Heaven and Hell, 1980, Heaven and Hell. Now, I know people are going to lose their fucking mind and say, what? Dude, Heaven and Hell is the greatest metal album of all time. Well, it's in my top 3. The thing with Heaven and Hell is I fucking love Heaven and Hell. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love it. But here's the deal with Heaven and Hell. Neon Nights, Children of the Sea is one of my favorite songs ever. Ever. Not just metal songs, but like one of my absolute favorite songs of all time is Children of the Sea. It's fucking great. You know? But Lady Evil's cool. Heaven and Hell is great, but I could probably like never hear that song again. Die Young. Die Young. But then you got Wishing Well, Walk Away, and Lonely Is the Word. Are those your favorite Sabbath songs? I mean, they might be. They're not mine. I just thought the second side of the album was weak. I did. It's like the first side of the album is fucking mind-blowing, and then the second side of the album, like, they're cool songs, but they're not, like, anything that you just fucking go, holy fucking shit. And that's why originally I put this in number 2, and I moved it down to number 3 because my number 2 is Mob Rules. And I was just looking at it, and I was like, you know what? I just like more songs off of fucking Mob Rules. Turn Up the Night, Voodoo, Sign of the Southern Cross, Mob Rules, Country Girl. Dude, over and over. Falling Off the Edge of the World, Slipping Away. Like, that album is way more complete than, you know, than Heaven and Hell was. It is. I'm sorry. Both of them done by Martin Birch, but I gotta go Mob Rules over Heaven and Hell. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. Just by that much. Just because lonely is the word. Oh yeah. Not my favorite song. Which leads us to number 1, which I have like tattooed on my leg right there. Holy Diver. I screwed up the lighting there. Number 1, Holy Diver. What can I say about Holy Diver? One of my favorite metal albums of all time. One of my favorite albums of all time. And see, that's the thing is like, I listen to a bunch of different music. You know, I listen to Bowie. I listen to like all kinds of shit. I threw Bowie out there. Yeah, Bowie. I listen to all kinds of stuff. When a metal album, because I grew up as a metal kid, when a metal album transcends metal and moves into that echelon up there with like Madman Across the Water from Elton John, The Stranger from Billy Joel, fucking Ziggy from fucking Bowie. When those albums like transcend genre into my personal favorites, they're stellar, and that's Holy Diver. Holy Diver was that album where Ronnie was hungry, he was pissed off, he was tired of dealing with the bullshit from the Blackmores of the world and the Tony Iommis of the world, these guys that thought they ruled the world. And it was funny because Ronnie, every band that he went into, he made it better. You know, he made Rainbow what it was. He made Sabbath better. Sabbath was a disaster, you know, when he went in there. And he was tired of that. So he went and did his own thing. And it was funny because, you know, when you read interviews and stuff, and it was like, it was a collaborative effort. It was a band called Dio. But Ronnie was, you know, the lead guy. But you could definitely feel the synergy on that album, that first album. You can feel the anger on that album. You can feel the sense that they were having fun, every single one of them. There's not a song on that entire album that I would skip over. I love every fucking song on that album. Stand Up and Shout, Holy Diver, Gypsy. She was straight from hell, but you never could tell because you were blinded by her light. Caught in the Middle, Don't Talk to Strangers, Straight Through the Heart, Invisible, Jesus, Rainbow in the Dark, Shame on the Night. perfect. Perfect. So all those albums before, you know, they have some really great moments and then some okay moments, but Holy Diver, from beginning to end, Ronnie James Dio's best album, in my opinion, of course. Now, there's my Dio albums for you. That's the studio albums from Ronnie James Dio. He did a lot of other things, and it's fun to go out and find those little things that he did, you know, where he did like Dream On with Yngwie, which is totally ludicrous. But the thing I learned from that is I actually learned the actual lyrics to Dream On, because Ronnie sings it really slow. And then Yngwie is like being Yngwie on fucking Dream On, so it's fucking kind of funny. Welcome to My Nightmare. He did some stuff. He did that Roger Glover album, like I said. He was on Minetaka Higuchi's album, the drummer for Loudness that passed away a couple years ago. He was on, I think, at least one song. I think it was called Castle in the Sky. It was, or something like that. High Castle, something like that. Look it up. You'll find it. I'll put it on here. There's a lot of cool stuff that Ronnie did. God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen off that Metal Christmas album. Like I said, the Kerry Livgren album, the guy from Kansas, he did some songs on there. But that's it, man. So we're going to go down the list real quick. Number 20 was the first album. Number 19, we got Carolina County Ball from Elf, because Elf was Elf. Trying to Burn the Sun was number 18, Strange Highways. Number 17. Number 16, Angry Machines. Number 15, Master of the Moon. Number 14, Lock Up the Wolves. Number 13, The Devil You Know from Heaven and Hell. Number 12, Magicka. Number 11, Killing the Dragon. Number 10, Sacred Heart. Number 9, Dehumanizer. Number 8, Long Live Rock and Roll. Number 7, Dream Evil. Number 6, Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. Number 5, Rainbow Rising, or just Rising, depends on if you're like a nutball and you want to like pick at me for saying it wrong. Number 4, The Last in Line. Number 3, Heaven and Hell. Number 2, Bob Rules. And number 1, Holy Diver. You've been down too long in the midnight sea. Oh, what's becoming of me? Anything I covered on there, go find it. Go listen to it. Everybody's opinion is totally different. If you love Strange Highways and Angry Machines, and you love the, you know, if you have Elf tattooed on your arm, cool. Anything that had to do with Ronnie is awesome. So, there you go. I'll see you guys again real soon. Stay metal! Yeah.